Hey everyone, it's Alfredo Brown with Football Guys, and I'm asking the question, which rookie wide receiver could be the next Amon-Ra St. Brown? Let's get started.
Perfect.
One of my favorite wide receivers in this class is Khalil Shakir out of Boise State. Now he's 6 foot 196. He's 22 years old, and man, did he produce when he was at Boise State. Now he played 43 games in college, and he was a 3-year starter. He broke out in 2019 as a sophomore, and while he played a lot of games and put up a lot of great numbers, he did all this doing it 77% from the slot position. Now, being a slot receiver doesn't have the same stigma that it used to. NFL teams are using a lot of good players, sometimes even their best receiver, in the slot. It's happening quite often. We've seen it with Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Godwin. Some of the best wide receivers in all of fantasy football are being used from the slot position. Now, the numbers for Khalil Shakir and the production he put up in college was pretty impressive, all things considered. Now, on a per-game basis, he averaged 6 receptions, 82 yards, and essentially a touchdown every other game. The guy was Boise State's offense, and he was like that for years. Now, just for fun, and I know, don't get mad, this has no bearing on actual NFL fantasy output, but just for fun, if you took those numbers together and you turn them into fantasy points, we're talking about a guy that was averaging 17 PPR points per game, good enough to be a top 10 fantasy wide receiver in the NFL. I know, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying that's how it would translate. That's how impressive it was, the numbers he was putting up at Boise State. But, I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10 guy. I'm not saying he's going to be an incredible player right out of the gate as a rookie. But this is a guy who his production profile and everything he's done shows that it's within the realm of possibility. Now let's look at the scouting report for Khalil Shakir. He ran a 4.43 and he jumped a 38.5-inch vertical leap. That put him 6th amongst the wide receivers. That's ahead of Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks, and George Pickens, all guys that have been talked about as being great athletes in this class, and a lot of whom are projected to go really early in the top 40 picks. Now, he stood out at the Senior Bowl, Shakir did. That was a week of going up against some of the top competition, and you try not to let narratives drive the way you think about players, but when scouts and coaches and all the TV people start to notice how well you're doing, it probably means you're pretty good at football. Now, what I like most about Khalil Shakir on tape is that he's a superior route runner. His footwork is precise and crisp every single time. At Boise State, he got to run a lot of choice routes, okay? Now, choice routes is something where the receiver can choose to either break in, break out, or sit in a zone. Essentially, he's the one that gets to read the defense and make the best decision for himself to get open. So not only does this mean that he's already a master of his craft at route running, but he's really good at reading defenses. This is something that's going to be a very underrated aspect of his game and probably allow him to get into an NFL starting lineup pretty early in his career. Now, landing spot matters for these rookies, so where could he end up in the NFL draft? I personally think that he should be a round 3 pick in the NFL draft, but I think it's more likely that he'll go in the 4th or 5th round. Now, some of the possible landing spots for him, first of all, the Pittsburgh Steelers would be absolutely amazing. That's a great spot for a slot receiver like him to end up, take over that Juju Smith-Schuster role. Some other places that do need slot receivers, and well, they kind of all play in the same division. The Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, and Tennessee Titans could all use a guy like Khalil Shakir, and in any 4 of these options, he could be a starter in the NFL and become the next Amon-Ra St. Brown.